Hello and welcome back to another episode of Inside the Nest. I am your host, John Schneider, media member and credentialed for Roswell football and all of Roswell athletics. Today we're going to be bringing you our game preview for the final non-region game against the Buford Wolves. Now this will be a tough task for the Hornets since Buford is ranked number 9 nationally according to Max Preps, as well as second in the state. And last year didn't go so well for the Hornets against the Wolves. Final from last year was 52-17 at the Nest, and there were some issues with running the ball and stopping the run against the Wolves, and their defense is very stout overall. As a total, their Buford's become a national powerhouse over the past few years, producing guys like Dylan Raiola, and now his little brother Dayton is the quarterback over there now, starting back again from last year when the Hornets faced them as well. They have a lot of commits, and that should be expected from a top 10 team nationally. And they're not just dink and dunk schools from random like Mountain West Conference. No, these guys have offers from, looking at Dayton Raiola, committed to Nebraska. Their running back duo, who's really good, between Dylan McCoy, who we'll get into later, as well as Tyree Green. Those guys are committed to NC State and UGA respectively. So going into this game, it kind of already seems like the odds are already stacked against the Hornets. Now, Roswell does have some advantages in this matchup, where they have the advantage of kicker. They have in my opinion, they have the advantage in pass rush, just based off production level. Granted, it is kind of skewed between the level of competition that Buford plays, since they traditionally play the 6A region, as well as, that class, if you so to speak, and as well as schools like Milton, Carrollton, Douglas County. They play Douglas County right after they're done with us. So their schedule is significantly, I guess, more challenging than Roswell, just due to who's in their class, right? Going in this game, a few things to look for is, how does Roswell stop Buford's rushing attack? Buford had 280 yards and 4 touchdowns running the ball against the Hornets last year, especially coming from Dylan McCoy is going to be the main guy you're going to look out for here out of the backfield for the Wolves, as well as they'll supplement in a little Tyree Green as well, but Tyree Green is more of two-way than McCoy. McCoy, coming off their win against Benedictine, they had a very convincing win, 42-14. McCoy had 90 yards for 2 touchdowns, so again, he's everywhere. They don't particularly... Buford doesn't jump off the page as most explosive offense, but don't get it twisted. They're one of the 10 best teams in the country, and will light anyone up. It's just more so kind of everywhere than just one. Say, hey, they're just an air raid team. No, they do it all. So running, passing, everything. Like I said, Buford does have a do-it-all type of offense, but namely, their defense is very suffocating. They did it to Milton, they did it to Benedictine, and they did it all throughout last year, all the way up until their state title appearance against Carrollton. They are the state runner-up for the Class 6A. Again, high-quality team, very high-quality program. They just built a new $63 million stadium. The thing's insane. So it'll be a tough task for the Hornets to go up to Buford and get a win here, but it isn't impossible. If you want to look at, to kind of quote Josh Pate here, padlock stats will be the telltale signs of this game, is who's controlling the ball on the ground and who's not, basically, right? Both these teams have great running back stables. Again, Tyree Green and Dylan McCoy for the Buford Wolves, as well as ours with Nick Peel and Drake Housie. That'll be the key here, as well as, Raiola isn't as much of he's more of a pocket passer quarterback than, say, Trey Smith, right? Smith will give you that extra weapon on the ground when you need to, and can create with his legs and get you touchdowns as well. Not to say that Dayton can't, but he's more prone to be just drop back, pocket handoff, your typical pocket passer archetype of a QB. Whereas Trey Smith again, kind of similar to last week's preview against Walton. Trey Smith is more your do it all. Hey, I'm gonna run over you. I'm gonna truck you. I'm gonna juke you out of your cleats type quarterback. Where everything's if something's not going right, you can then rely on him to create for you and get the extra yards and first downs when necessary. And this was shown last year as well, where hey, the running backs weren't really with Saquon last year with Saquon wasn't really getting all like Buford was shutting Roswell down from the running back standpoint last year, and hopefully that doesn't happen again this year. But Trey Smith did have 11 carries for 61 yards last year in the game against Buford. Excuse me. So that's a key thing there to look at. And Buford doesn't give up a lot of sacks, nor do they sack the quarterback a lot. So with how good Roswell's offensive line has been recently, I wouldn't expect Trey Smith to be overly matched, so to speak. Whether or not, like, hey, you're just getting constantly hurt, they're getting them off his spot, and having the threat of, hey, I mean, their defensive line is really good, especially Perry Wright, who I believe is I'm gonna have to get back on that. He is committed to an SEC school. I forget which one, but they're high quality defensive line over there for Buford as well as, but they don't sack the quarterback that much, and they didn't really do that against Benedictine or Milton, and they didn't do that last year so much so against the Hornets. And it's still relative continuity from last year for the Hornets on the offensive line. Now, what the Hornets are going to look for on defense is for Hayes Kennerly, Josh Emerson, Alex Lucas's, and especially Brody Duffy to get after Dayton Rayola and then shut down, as well as coupled with O'Shawn Walker to shut down this Buford rushing attack. That'll be the key for him. And then if you want to look at corners matchups, you want to throw in Christian English on, I believe. Yep, Braylon Williams. Sorry, I have my notes down here. Who is their leading wide receiver? Again, more do it all. Their stats aren't going to jump off the page, but they are really good. That is one thing, especially with his athleticism as their point guard for varsity basketball. It's, again, everything is. Beaver's extremely athletic, extremely talented, loads of commits to high D1 schools. But Roswell can still get a victory, even though the odds do seem skewed in Buford's favor. Now, what will it take? Again, like I said earlier, rushing attack's got to be on point. You got to be probably going to look to Trey Smith to create some extra plays with his legs and just overall improvising ability. You're going to look for the defense to get Raiola off his spot, especially from Brody Duffy, Hayes Kennerly, and Josh Emerson off the edge. That'll be key as well, and how the linebackers hold up against their running back room of Dylan McCoy and Tyreek Green. So, that being said, hopefully this game will be a lot closer than last year's matchup. This game is at Buford. It's not the Nest, so we don't have the home field advantage, but this probably I'm going to say it right now, as much as, obviously we're going to be hoping for a Roswell win. We always hope for that, right? And if we beat number 10, number 9, top 10, number 9 nationally ranked team, especially in the state, that'll go a long, long way for how the season's going to go. Again, season's not over if we lose to Buford. Roswell isn't projected to beat Buford, but hey, upsets can happen. We did see Creekside annihilate DeSoto, and that was insane in and of itself, like 70-20 something. So whack job scenarios do happen. It's, again, comes down to will the team who's willing to put forth that extra effort and really just whether or not, like, hey, is Buford actually on their A game? Are they going to look past Roswell? Now, I don't think that will be the case, nor do I think Roswell's going to look past. Roswell can't look past Buford. Buford's probably the biggest game on their schedule outside of Milton. So, is this, well, then, again, it all comes down to that. And I do think, again, we should, like last week against Walton, Roswell does have the kicking advantage where, like, hey, close spot, gotta have a field goal. I'm 10 out of 10 sending Ballon out there, and I'm not thinking twice about it, and I'm going to take him twice on Sunday as well. And we're going to leave it right there, and we're going to wrap it up for this episode of our preview for Roswell versus Buford. I am John Schneider, your host. Thank you so much for tuning in. You can find the rest of these episodes, as well as our past game previews and recaps, as well as highlight packages and game reactions on the Inside the Nest channel on YouTube, as well as Inside the Nest on Spotify. Thank you so much, everyone, and so long.